Good day, Sir Mabuan. This is our presentation by John Christian Tate Baluyut and Ken Michael Sison. Welcome to our presentation. Today, I'm going to discuss our video presentation is all about electoral reform. Let us begin.
It is change in electoral frameworks to further develop how public desires are communicated in election results that can incorporate changes of voting systems, vote counting procedures, rules about political parties, typically changes to election laws, eligibility to vote, electoral constituencies and election district borders, ballot design and voting equipment, scrutineering, safety of voters and election workers, measures against bribery, coercion, and conflicts of interest, financing of candidates and referendum campaigns.
The meanings of electoral reform. It tackles about the voting system in our nation, candidates, who should be who should be vote and etc.
Much of the charter change debate has been focused on the proposed transition to a federal system as a means of addressing the challenges within equitable development. But before federalism is pursued, it is necessary to examine the current landscape of politics and governance. With regard to the need for reforms that will create more equal opportunity in politics in the Philippines, there are 4 areas of the current constitution which the CONCOM was tasked to review. These were the anti-political dynasty provision, the strengthening of political parties, and party list reforms. A political dynasty is defined to exist when a family whose members are related up to the second degree of consanguinity or affinity maintains political control by succession or by simultaneously running or holding elective positions. It is proposed that no person related to an incumbent elective official as described above can run for the same position in the immediately following election, and relatives within the second degree of consanguinity or affinity are also prohibited from running simultaneously for more than one national and regional or local position.
In this slide, it talks about the purposes of the electoral reform that should be changed in our nation, and supposedly the political candidates should have strengthening here in the Philippines and other constitutions. In this slide, it shows about the members who are running for the political candidate, and they have their own position and second degree for the election.
Political parties can be strengthened by instituting reforms on party registration and administration. Party registration begins with a CAMLIC. Political parties should be developed as democratic public institutions. They should have their own program, adhere to the Constitution, and practice party discipline. They should institutionalize a democratic system of internal decision-making and allow for active citizen participation. Political parties should also observe democratic processes in nominating and selecting party officials and candidates for public office.
Here are the members of the political candidates, Ferdinand Marcos and Benigno Aquino. They have their own position and program, such as Marcos's Nationalist Party and Ninoy Aquino's Liberal Party.
The reascension to power by former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo has not or will not come full circle. Any thoughts about her return to the throne is either premature, irresponsible, or overblown. So says a spokesperson of the consultative committee that drafted the just completed working federal constitution, who makes it crystal clear provisions built in the draft charter disallows the former president to rise back to the presidency or premiership. This report from PTV's Carol D.
There is no prime minister under the proposed federal charter. The consultative committee clarified speculations that former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's installment as a new House Speaker is a prelude to her rise as Prime Minister. CONCOM spokesperson Conrado Generoso said a presidential form of government will be retained once the federal constitution is adopted.
Si GMA o sino man ay hindi maaring maging Prime Minister sa ilalim ng panukala ng CONCOM dahil ito ay presidential form pa rin. Sa isang presidential form of government, walang prime minister, presidente lang.
The Senate welcomed multiple possibilities while assuring the public the integrity of democratic processes will be upheld.
You can think of all possibilities. And it's up to the Senate as an institution to make sure that our democracy is protected, the stability of the government and our democratic processes and institutions are protected.
Senate Minority Floor Leader Drilon said that these speculations was fallout from the change in the House's speakership due to the tribalism in our country's politics.
The more there is a need for reforms in our political party system, and that we should pass legislation which would govern the political party system in our country. Look at that. In a more mature democracy with a mature political party system, hindi po mangyayari yan.
Which is a major reason that the senator is strongly pushing for the Senate Bill 226 or the Political Party System Act. But CONCOM said passage of these laws is not enough to strengthen the political party system, since Congress can always take back the power it delegates anytime. That is why in the draft federal charter, political reforms to strengthen political parties are enshrined in the Constitution that will discourage or eliminate turncoatism or political butterflies and weaken personality politics.
So at the start of every Congress, we will already know sino-sino ang with a particular party in the House, with a particular ideology. So pagdating sa pagpipili ng leadership in the House, that would also be reflective of the political parties. Unlike today, there is no clear distinction between political parties in the House.
Meanwhile, the Senate is now ready to tackle the federal charter after President Duterte included it in his recent State of the Nation address. The CONCOM, on the other hand, is simultaneously conducting public consultations to broaden and increase awareness on federalism. Carol D. for the Nation.
Party list representation makes use of the tendency for proportional representation systems to favor single-issue parties, and applies that tendency to allow underrepresented sectors to represent themselves in the lawmaking process. The states will promote proportional representation in the election of representatives to the House of Representatives through a party list system of registered national, regional and central parties or organizations or coalitions thereof. The country's unrealistic campaign finance regulation contained in the Fair Election Act, Republic Act No. 9006, which has been unenforceable. A proposal to address this, although not yet contained in the CONCOM draft charter, would be to allow ordinary citizens to state in their tax return that they are willing to donate to a particular political party in return for tax credits. Under this system, spending monitoring and regulation will be conducted through the Bureau of Internal Revenue, BIR, and CAMLIC records.
In this slide, whenever there is an upcoming election, graft and corruption is inevitable because to our country, the money of the people has been taxed by the government. It's nothing but to be kept in their pockets. It's impossible to be happy to evade that kind of issue. Their response could most likely to be incompetent even to the society. I hope that this kind of unbreakable curse would disappear.
Campaign Watch 2012. And now, Congressman Cam Brady on campaign finance reform.
The guys are prepared to donate $500,000 to your PAC. Provided, of course, you pick up the phone anytime we call.
Oh, hold on. Hello, how about 750? If you give us $1 million, hell, I'll let you sleep with my wife.
And for 1.5, I'll throw in my cousin.
I don't know if you want her cousin. That might drive the price down.
She lost weight.
Oh, Mrs. Brady, are you playing footsie with me under the table?
Nope, that's me.
He's a switch hitter.
No, I did once in college, yes, which we've never talked about.
This important message has been brought to you by the campaign.
Goes without saying, this lunch never happened.
Rated R. Only in theaters August 10th.
Effects of the problem with the electoral reform in Philippine society. So here are the three effects of the problem in the electoral reform. First is the vote buying. Second is the connections of other people when it comes to election. Third, people would like to run even they are not qualified.
We have seen once again the spectacle of candidates filing their candidacy for elective posts in the 2019 midterm elections. The faces and surnames of most of the serious candidates are familiar to us. This spectacle shows the same people who keep on coming back for re-election, including a few of them who have been indicted for misuse of money. Same political jurisdiction. Some people say there is nothing wrong with that. Any qualified person has an inherent right to run for public office.
Problems history with the electoral reform in Philippine society. I think in history, in politics, it runs in the blood of capitalist, fascist people that the generational wouldn't break. It speculates that we will never have the kind of freedom that we wanted to have. That's all for our video presentation. Thank you.